Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, fresh off the Alex Jones show, where I had a great discussion with Pastor Mark Burns. Mark Burns from Easley, South Carolina, being implored by his fellow South Carolinians to challenge Senator Lindsey Graham, the Sancho Panza of Senator John McCain, the two leading rhinos in the U.S. Senate. Senator McCain gravely ill and acting in a bitter, jealous rage, attacking President Donald Trump today. Now, the only reason John McCain is even still in the U.S. Senate is because candidate Donald Trump endorsed his reelection candidacy when they were both on the ballot the same day in the Arizona Republican primary. In that race, Senator John McCain was being challenged by State Senator Kelly Ward, who is now a candidate challenging Senator Jeff Flake, the other rhino senator from Arizona. How ironic that Jeff Flake writes a book called A Conscience of a Conservative, meant to be an updated version of Senator Barry Goldwater's book, The Conscience of a Conservative, the book that got me involved in politics, the book that first attracted me to the Republican Party and to the libertarian, small government, conservative philosophy of Senator Barry Goldwater, my first political hero. But Flake has failed to be a conservative reformer. He has failed to join the Trump revolution. If you are for a conservative reform agenda, Donald Trump is our president. He is the leader of this movement. Oddly enough, Senator Flake has decided that he's part of the status quo crowd. Now, one of the most intriguing things going on today is the announced effort by my friend Steve Bannon, late of the Trump White House, to launch an active challenge to a number of sitting rhino Republican U.S. senators, and indeed to challenge Mitch McConnell himself. Yesterday in the morning, the president appeared to give support to Bannon's effort. By the afternoon, he seems to have tempered that a bit. We recognize that he needs to try to continue to work with Senator Mitch McConnell, despite the fact that the Kentucky senator seems more intent in undermining our president and his agenda than supporting it. Let me be very clear. I am 100% supportive of Steve Bannon's important efforts. I think that Dean Heller in Nevada, for example, needs to be made an example of. Dean Heller, whose campaign is guided by the exact same strategist who took John Enson's campaign and career into the toilet, the same individual who was helping fund the odd arrangement between Senator Ensign and his administrative assistant and the administrative assistant's wife, which ended up destroying Ensign's career, now seems to be in charge of Dean Heller's career. The challenger there, Danny Tarkanian, a good man, not viewed as a particularly strong candidate, but certainly more than qualified to be a solid U.S. senator. There is no shame of running and losing. The only shame is not having the courage to run. Mr. Tarkanian has run previously and been unsuccessful. In that sense, he reminds me a great deal of, Abraham Lincoln. The key thing to remember here is that the issues are bigger than Heller and Tarkanian. The issue is the Trump agenda, yes or no. That's why I stand shoulder to shoulder with Steve Bannon in his efforts to remake the Republican Party in the image of Donald Trump. The truth is, every Republican president in my lifetime has sought to remake the party in their image, starting with Abraham Lincoln, certainly William McKinley, Colonel Theodore Roosevelt, Dwight David Eisenhower and his modern republicanism, Richard Nixon, who rebuilt a coalition that not only elected him, but went on to elect Ronald Reagan and later Donald Trump, fusing the votes of traditional Republicans, Southern moderate Democrats, urban Catholics, and others that were habitually Democratic. Now we seek to remake the Republican Party in the image of Donald Trump. What does that mean? Well, a non-interventionist party, a party that isn't going to march off to endless foreign wars where our inherent national interests are not clear. A party that is going to redo the massive international trade agreements, which have benefited our trade partners but not ourselves. A party committed to real immigration reform so that the government is equipped to examine the application of any person who applies to come to this country legally to pursue the American dream. A party that is committed to a vibrant, growing, robust economy. Folks, when it comes down to the future of the Trump revolution, I cannot say more emphatically that the success of the president's tax reform program is the cornerstone to a political realignment, the president's reelection, and the end of the broken Democratic Party that seems only interested in racial and identity politics. It is essential that we have a business tax cut for all businesses across the board so that our tax rate is lower than Mexico, lower than Canada, lower than China, lower than Japan. The 20% proposed by the president is the right number. I'd like it to see it go to 15 in the out years of the Trump presidency. This is the most important fight that's on our agenda today. It's where the president needs your support. Where we need your support is at the Infowars.com store, where you have extraordinary specials now. I really think Alex Jones has gone out of his mind with some of these deep discounts where the very most popular products that you can get at the Infowars.com store are available. It's not like we are selling back stock of the slow-moving products, folks. You're talking about Brain Force. You're talking about Selenium-12. You're talking about Anthroplex. You're talking about Super Male Vitality. Now, I can tell you from experience, Alex Jones doesn't put anything on the Infowars.com store site that isn't rigorously tested and the very best of the best in terms of high quality, all natural ingredients. Don't believe me? Look for yourself. You have literally thousands of testimonials from satisfied info warriors. And as he said many times, it's a win-win situation, meaning we don't have a George Soros or a Ford Foundation or a Rockefeller Foundation writing us big checks. So you help yourself, you help us, you help the revolution. We are the resistance. They are not the resistance. Go to the store. Help us now. We love you. Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, and you're on the War Room with Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. This is part of the exciting new expanded programming here at Infowars.com. We're now programmed almost 10 hours a day. You can get David Knight and the news in the morning. You can get Alex Jones, as always, midday. And now we wrap up at the War Room before moving on to the nightly news. You will not find the kind of coverage that you're getting here at InfoWars anywhere in the mainstream media. In fact, you can't even find it, generally speaking, on the alt-right media, although we continue to highly commend sites like the Drudge Report, the Daily Caller, and Breitbart, our brothers and sisters in the fight for truth. But it is InfoWars that is the tip of the spear. It is InfoWars where I have learned about the fearlessness of Alex Jones and the entire crew who work at InfoWars. We are committed to bringing you the facts, the truth, and nothing but the truth. We don't have the preordained globalist agenda of the CNN, CBS, NBC crowd. We're interested in truth here. And in order to continue to do that, we need, without any question, your support. As I've said many times, we don't have multi-billion-dollar benefactors standing in the wings writing us big checks so that we can fight the efforts of the tech left to censor us. You heard Mark Dice talking about the way YouTube is censoring and demonetizing important conservative voices like my friends Diamond and Silk, like my friend Joy Villa, like my colleagues here at InfoWars. You see, they understand that the demassification of our media was exactly what allowed the election of President Donald J. Trump. In 2016, InfoWars was in the forefront of ending the mainstream media monopoly, indeed the stranglehold on all political information. There was a time when if it didn't happen on CBS, ABC, NBC, and then later CNN and Fox, well, it's the same as it not happening at all. But with the invention of the internet and the fact that more and more Americans are getting their news right here in a handheld device instead of getting it on the television set in the kitchen or the living room, that gave rise to a robust, vibrant alternative media that now they seek to strangle. That's why we need your support. Breaking news today about the Justice Department and Attorney General Jeff Sessions finally telling a U.S. Senate committee that Hillary Clinton is under investigation. Wow, Attorney General Sessions. It's about time. What about the Obama NSA? What about Rice, Rogers, Clapper, Brennan, Jarrett, et al., and the wholesale spying on Americans? I now have every reason to believe that Donald Trump, Paul Manafort, Carter Page, Roger Stone, and others were being monitored. I know that Alex Jones spoke to Donald Trump in that period. I know that conversation was being monitored. Where are the prosecutions for the wholesale violation of our civil liberties? Over 30,000 Americans, 1 in 10, were being, in essence, wiretapped by the Obama NSA. Compare that to Watergate. My new book, Tricky Dick, The Rise and Fall and Rise of Richard Milhouse Nixon, now available at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, details how the Watergate break-in was an operation infiltrated by the CIA. No one was ever successfully wiretapped. It was not a government-run operation. It was a rogue operation run amok, mounted without Richard Nixon's approval or knowledge, an amateur show put together by Gordon Liddy, but compromised by veteran CIA operative James McCord. Compared that to what has just happened under the Obama NSA, where the government was doing the wiretapping, but the goal was the same as the goal of Watergate: political espionage and finding information that could be leveraged against candidate Donald Trump. In other words, the Obama administration was cheating, interfering in an American presidential election. Where has Attorney General Sessions been on this important issue? Will he follow through, as he has with Hillary Clinton, with a formal investigation to the spying that is going on, or that was going on, under the Obama NSA? There is no question that the revelations of the next 2 days have rocked, of the last 2 days, principally by John Solomon of The Hill, and Sarah Carter of Circa News, have rocked Washington like nothing I have seen in the last 2 years. You see, psychological projection is a theory in which, in psychology, one projects their own shortcomings, their own misdeeds, and in order to defend themselves against their own unconscious impulses, they tend to project these feelings onto others. Hillary and Team Obama have raised this projection to an art form. First it was, oh, Trump's in bed with the Russians. Well, now we know that it was John and Tony Podesta, Bill and Hillary and Chelsea Clinton in bed with the Russians. And the whole claim that Trump is colluding with the Russians has collapsed before our very eyes. But it's worse, folks, much worse. We have just learned that the Obama administration and the Justice Department, including the FBI, knew of massive bribes to the Clintons in order to get control of U.S. uranium. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, where are the handcuffs? Where are the 5 a.m. raids? Where are the sealed indictments? Hope springs eternal. I'm Roger Stone, and we'll be right back on The War Room. Welcome back to The War Room. I'm your co-host, Roger Stone. Now, if you've been watching The War Room these last couple weeks, you know we have a new feature here at The War Room. We call it our A-Hole of the Week Award. That's when we search the news to find someone so ridiculous, so absurd, so asinine that they must be recognized for their stupid words or deeds. This week's A-Hole of the Week is former Congressman David Jolly of North Florida, defeated by Charlie Crist, a former governor in the last election. David Jolly called the President Donald Trump yesterday, quote, unstable, close quote, and, quote, risky when it comes to matters of national security. This in an interview with MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell. Now, I find these views repugnant. I find former Congressman Jolly, formerly lobbyist Jolly, to be undoubtedly a leaping, bounding, screaming a-hole of the week. That said, let me mention another guy who appears to be in the sights here at InfoWars. You may be familiar with former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara. Bharara got an undeserved reputation as a Mr. Clean in the Obama administration for a series of high-profile convictions on both Wall Street and in the political corruption arena of Albany. Well, it turns out that Mr. Bahara's reputation as Mr. Clean, as a white knight, is not everything it's cracked up to be. Extraordinarily, public documents regarding his attempt successfully to convict a Las Vegas investor named William Billy Walters, showed that Preet Bharara knew about and approved the illegal leaking of grand jury testimony, that Preet Bharara pressured witnesses to reverse their story and bear false witness against Mr. Walters, that he, in other cases, induced exculpatory witnesses to plead the Fifth Amendment lest they be indicted for minor financial crimes, that he further knew of and approved of an FBI agent to leak grand jury testimony to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, and then he lied to a federal judge about his knowledge. So let me put this in some perspective. As a U.S. attorney, as a prosecutor, Preet Bharara knowingly, regularly violated the law to convict innocent men of violating the law. Stunning series of articles by Dr. Jerome Corsi here at Infowars.com. And the reason that the Preet Bharara story is important is because his activities were in concert with and coordinated with the Obama Justice Department and the FBI under Robert Mueller and James Comey. So the leaks and trial in the press is the MO that President Donald Trump needs to pay attention to. If the president wants to know what's going to happen regarding special counsel Mueller and his presidency, he needs to merely look at the case of Billy Walters and the illegal activities of his Justice Department Benedictoire, Preet Bharara. Now, when Mr. Bharara left the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, where he was handpicked by Senator Chuck Schumer, he not only attacked the president, but it was announced that he would land a very lucrative gig as a legal analyst for CNN. Mr. Bharara clearly has some serious questions to answer. Why would he pressure witnesses into lying? Why would he pressure other witnesses into taking the Fifth Amendment so as not to prove to be exculpatory witnesses? Why would he countenance the FBI illegally leaking grand jury testimony? In short, why did Preet Bharara break the law to prosecute individuals who it appears have been completely innocent? Pay attention to this case, folks. This story has legs, but catch the series at Infowars by Dr. Jerome Corsi, because again, if the president wants to know what is going to happen to him, he simply needs to study this case carefully. Special counsel Robert Mueller has every intention of bringing charges, or at least publicly claiming that there is violation of the law by President Donald Trump. Now, we don't know if this is a fabricated case that revolves around the dismissal of Mr. Comey. We don't know whether this is a case that involves the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. We do know that former White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus met yesterday with Mueller's investigators, and the word on the street is that this was not good testimony for the president's son-in-law. In other words, some are playing into the hands of Mr. Mueller. Mr. Mueller will have no success bringing a charge against our president that pertains to Russian collusion, because in that investigation, Mr. Mueller is empty-handed. We know that Mr. Mueller has started delving into the president's real estate investments of 15 and 20 years ago. Relevance? None. We know that Mr. Mueller seeks to pressure my old colleague and boyhood friend, Paul Manafort, into bearing false witness against our president, claiming, yes, I was colluding with the Russians and Trump knew everything. Nonsense, falsehoods, myth, fabrication, lies, all, I would say, concocted by the deep state in an effort to bring our president down. Now, let's be very clear. Alex Jones has been on the forefront, and I have supported him in our claims that this coup d'etat is coming, and it is. The president's going to need our support, but make no bones about it, the lawsuit against me by Protect Democracy is an attempt to distract me from helping the president at this crucial time. Imagine my shock yesterday when I went to my mailbox and found an invoice for another $87,000 in legal fees. I'll be right back to talk about this epic battle and how we help the president. Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, and I'm here with my colleague Owen Schroyer on the War Room. This is our expanded programming, the brainchild of Alex Jones. We're now up to 10 hours of live programming a day, bringing you breaking news, covering the topics and the issues that the others don't dare touch, with a scrupulous regard for the truth and vetting the things that we report here, unlike the mainstream media, which continually treats you like a mushroom, keeping you in the dark and feeding you, well, you know the rest. Owen, what do you make of what's going on in Washington with this breaking Justice Department scandal regarding who was colluding with the Russians and who knew about it?
Well, yesterday, when you and I were having a conversation about this, we were getting pretty fired up. We were wondering what Jeff Sessions was waiting on. We were wondering what the Justice Department was waiting on. We were kind of getting fed up with having to cover all the revelations that are, you know, quote unquote new or breaking, but had really broken years ago. We'd covered it. People have written books about it, including yourself. But to hear them in the committee today talk about an investigation that's ongoing potentially into some of these things about colluding with Russia, not on the Trump side that they've been looking into for about a year now, and they can't figure anything out. They can't find anything there, just a bunch of conjecture, a bunch of conspiracy theories. While we continue to get evidence breaking that the FBI was colluding with the Obama administration, with Holder, and with Clinton, with Lynch, and you go back and you look at Mueller and Rosenstein, they're basically leading a probe into investigating themselves. So perhaps, I think maybe, you know, there is a element of the Trump administration that has a soft spot to we the people, to its constituency, and they do listen. So perhaps, you know, it's time for us to just start banging our heads, saying we want the cuffs, we want justice for these people. And the more we bang our head, I think the more they're going to respond.
It's interesting to me, the petition that we posted at Stone Cold Truth calling for the indictment of Hillary Clinton. What is that? Somebody give me that. That link has been among the most powerful. It's our intention to present that petition to the president. But believe me, the Trump White House, the president, despite the very best efforts of General John Kelly and the handful of globalists who have managed to sneak under the tent here, do their very best to shield the president from the kind of information that we report here at Infowars.com. You can go to ChargeHillaryNow.com and join this important initiative. Our goal from the beginning has been to present hundreds of thousands of petition signatures to the president himself. And I have a number of mutual friends who will present this physically to the president when we are concluded. So you can go to ChargeHillaryClinton.com. Let me be clear, we don't sell your data. We're not marketing your data. Our interest here is in citizen action and nothing else. So if you want to help us keep the pressure on the Attorney General, sign up at ChargeHillaryClinton.com. Oh, and I also think that perhaps we are reaching critical mass, meaning I'm always surprised at how much we predict here at InfoWars or we advise, and then we turn around and see what we have pushed happening. First, there was the pardon of Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who was fighting trumped-up politicized charges where they charged him under the wrong statute to make sure that he couldn't get a jury trial of his peers. Instead, his fate was in the hands of a Obama-appointed judge in what was strictly a political prosecution. Then we know the Justice Department was illegally monitoring his communications during the trial with his own attorney. Additionally, they were monitoring, they were in direct communication ex parte with the judge in that case. We here at InfoWars were the first to call for a pardon for Sheriff Joe, and lo and behold, that pardon happened. It was also InfoWars that advocated the changes in our health care, in our Obamacare program that the president initiated by executive order only last week. So we are having an impact here at InfoWars, which is why we need the support of the Info Warrior community. We don't have the kind of multi-billion-dollar corporate multinational network that NBC and CBS and ABC can tap into. We can only depend on the individual liberty-minded info warrior out there, and I honestly think, looking at some of these deep discounts, Alex Jones has lost his mind. Little am I to criticize these kind of deep discounts, but 50% off on Anthroplex, 30% off on Super Male Vitality, 50% off on Caveman, which comes, I believe, in both chocolate and strawberry. This is a paleo nutrition formula that I know Michael Zimmerman is particularly fond of. I've incorporated it into my own workout routine with whey protein. I'm back in the gym and I'm lifting heavy again, I'm happy to say. But these kind of discounted prices, they really boggle the mind. I don't know how Alex Jones is able to do it, but I do know this. These products will not be in stock very long at these prices. So help yourself, help us. Go to the store now. If you want to kick George Soros in the gonads, if you want to assault Bill and Hillary, rhetorically, of course, if you want to pursue justice against the Obama crime family, if you want to take on and tackle the globalists and defeat their efforts to destroy Western civilization and make us subservient to Islamic terrorist masters, then go to the Infowars.com store now and take advantage of these extraordinary discounts.
Hey, Roger, can I steal that one? Can I steal that one from you? If you want to kick George Soros in the gonads, go to InfoWarsStore.com. I'm going to steal that from you, okay?
You may appropriate it at any time. I can't think of any better way to tackle our adversaries here, those who hate our culture, hate our heritage, hate what we stand for. Let's be very clear what we're fighting over here. We believe in American exceptionalism. We believe in American sovereignty. We believe in American power. We believe in freedom. That's what InfoWars is all about. That's what Alex Jones is all about. That's what the War Room is all about. And unfortunately, we don't get the kind of giant corporate subsidies that some of our adversaries and competitors can take advantage of. We are a citizen-funded revolution. We can depend only on the rank-and-file info warrior. So I can think of no better way, Owen, to fund the resistance, to keep us out front breaking the kind of news that you've been breaking. Nobody has done a better job of covering the Las Vegas events than Owen Schroyer. Working with an army of citizen journalists, we tell you the things ABC's not telling you, NBC's not telling you, thanks to the work of people like Owen and the entire crew at InfoWars. So, folks, we need your support. We need your backing. We need you to go to the site. We need you to have our back because we are not going to be intimidated. Alex Jones and I both spoke about the uptick in death threats against both of us. Do you think it will silence us? Not a chance.